November 7th, 2022. Fall vegetables, cover crop type stuff. It's all looking pretty good. Chard, nice and big, good looking leaves. A few bites here and there, but that's all right. All sorts of brassicas coming in over here, as well as lentils. These are lentil plants. This is all just one right here. Yeah. And to me, they just have a real nice color to them. Everything has a real nice color to it right now. Very happy with the, this is the Daikon Grex grow out. Well, they won't flower until obviously spring or summer, but yeah, these are a good second generation of a bunch of Japanese non-F1 Daikon that I had going. So it's cool to see the diversity. Over here is the Chinese cabbage Grex. I'm trying to show you the whole patch here, and that is looking cool as well. As I've said before, I'll say it again. It's a good opportunity when you're growing a genetically diverse population of plants to get a sense of what whatever type of plant you're growing, what it can look like, and how wide of an array of phenotypes or sort of ways that the plants can express themselves that are visible to us as humans, or sort of noticeable to us as humans. I'm not sure if that's the actual definition of a phenotype, but the idea being that you want to just have as many different examples of what a plant can look like as possible, and that's the fun of breeding too. Over here, I believe this is barley that I planted in. It's getting nice and tall in a pretty short period of time. I sowed some brassicas in there as well. Compared to, say, over there, you can see that those are not going as quickly. Those were planted later and are not quite as tall. But yeah, I've been giving them some JLF just for the hell of it. I figured the bigger a plant is before it gets killed off by winter, the better a chance it has of overwintering. And I've been using just these small buckets just out in the field. So I've got 1, 2, 3 of those going right now. And that makes it a little easier, I think, to just do things on the spot. And you can be kind of local. It's also, with dealing with JLF, I think it's better to work with smaller containers since water is heavy, you know. And although there are benefits to, you know, having a trash can full of plant material, one thing I like about these is that you can kind of pick up the whole thing and pour out liquid. And with the trash can, you can't do that. So, whatever, man. It's all good. Here are some carrots, as well as a single bulb of fennel. I would love to have more fennel. I think it tastes great. I have failed to get it really going this year, other than this one. So, but down the line, yeah, that's one I would love to have some genetic diversity with, and just to be able to grow lots of in a Fukuoka style way, especially because it tastes good, you know. carrots, those are starting to look nice and thick, like the carrots you would see at the store. So that's cool. Always, yeah, that's one that I think really benefits from saving seed and then just throwing out as much as you can, just trying to get as lucky as you can with carrot. Because it will germinate, but it's just like when it does, it will surprise you. Here's carrot. Yeah, lots of little carrots. We'll see what overwinters, as well as, ones like this. I will probably pull up. There's a carrot. There's a carrot. Let's see. Yeah, so these are just, I guess you would call it direct seeded. It's too big. We'll see what happens when I pull it up. Should be interesting. There's carrot. There's carrot. Yeah, I'm gonna pull these up. Before they get winter killed, and then do a little taste test. You can eat about a third of the carrot and still replant it, from what I understand. So that'll be interesting. Here's another little patch. This is the Wakelands YQ, which is like a wheat Grex that they did over in the UK. They wanted to make as diverse of a wheat population as possible. And anyway, I think I got these from a guy on eBay. And yeah, mixed in with, this is mustard greens. We got that's kale there. That's a different kind of kale. So Nepis kale versus that just looks like regular kale. In its various forms. You can see some lettuce growing in there as well as, so whatever you're if you want to nudge one thing, give it a little advantage, say, oh yeah, actually lettuce, just clear a little path for lettuce, whatever you want to do. So something to think about. This does fill in pretty well. At the end of the day, well, that's the thing. You can kind of take from it whatever you want, but it is nice to look at. Good diversity and relatively few weeds, I would say. Looking good over there. Some more daikon over here. This is all broadcast, or so surface sown, as they say. Here is some Chinese cabbage. You can see that, right? The outer leaves are a little eaten up, but in terms of what got going on the inside there, looks quite good. And these are, I think part of the leaf damage comes from the fact that they're just growing closer together than they've been bred to do. And, these leaves are a good snack, so can you blame them? Teosinte. I've gone through, and I think I'm going to have a lot of seed from this, actually. I was worried that I was going to get nothing, and it is popping off. There's all sorts of nice hard seed in there. On the ones that I've just taken off already, and that's not even 1% of what I took away. So yeah, well, that'll be fun. It'll be interesting to see what uses I can come up with for it, and also to have it as seed. Down the line, I would like to make a more kind of intentional cross of it and corn. But for now, It's just I'll have a bunch of seed to trade, and that's now kind of a part of my genetics. Potatoes are starting to come up, even though it's about to get colder. So I think that they see this as a window of opportunity. Some of this is potato from seed. I've got some purple ones in the mix, and that's cool. The cool thing about breeding potatoes is you pretty much just have to, you don't have to lock down your genetics. You just you roll the dice until you get one that works. But then once you have it, that's it. You know, all you do from there on is make clones. You know, you've got to breed a potato that works for you. So I'm going to do another round though in the future of these TPS, true potato seed potatoes. I think I can do a better job of keeping them alive. A lot of them died, but it's also, you know, such a crapshoot as far as what you're gonna get and what responds to, you know, the conditions that you're growing in. Because you got to remember that this is, you know, pretty far. Where I am is pretty far away from the native habitat of potato, which is the Andes. But anyway, yeah, they're coming up just for a little snack before they go to bed again. This is just a window of opportunity for them. I won't be harvesting any. That'll die down, I suppose. But anyway, yeah, things are looking good here. There is a glow to the plants. That might just be all in my head, but things seem happy out here. A brief warm period before things get cold again. It's November 7th. Let's go take a look at this patch over here. This is another pretty good one. This is quite a bit lower light. Here I've got rye growing with a bunch of brassicas, a few peas mixed in there as well. Daikon radish, lettuce, Chinese cabbage, all growing here. Pretty crowded. But it looks good. Another patch of mixed brassicas, kale, turnip, daikon, etc. So I've got another patch over here. On the way though, let me show you what this is. Gobo, or edible burdock. Some kind of bean. There's another one over there. So that's pretty cool. Beans, you know, I've taken a pretty handed approach to that. It's not something I'm trying super hard to get going, but it is really cool to see that it can reseed itself, and that it does reseed even on a very small level. So that sort of thing is encouraging to see. Here's another patch, and things are filling in just fine. We've got, again, mixed brassicas, a little bit of lettuce, lentils. Once your eye is trained, you can kind of see it all. Look at that. Some sort of moschata, maybe? Some sort of squash that's still alive. It's November 7th. And there's still some tomatoes that are alive too. And so that's really cool to think about and to sort of use as a kind of teachable moment for yourself as a natural farmer, to observe the spectrum of things. Some things may die, but not all things will. And that becomes especially useful when you're growing genetically diverse versions of plants. Because not every plant is going to get hit in the same way. So some tomatoes still standing, looking pretty eaten up in some parts, but then not too bad in others. The kale plant, it's way bigger than the others, so kale will sort of survive and not wither during the summer in certain parts of my garden, it seems, closer to the shade. And that's one thing I really can advocate for, is trying to get away with growing things in the shade, and what you can do with that, especially when you combine that with a sort of land race. And if you think, what sorts of habits can I have which will encourage things that do well here to reseed themselves? My own effort, or just shifting the scales a little bit, tipping the scales a little bit for these plants to do better. But you see that nature takes care of itself in a lot of ways. That's the elegance of the system. Here's some hops. I don't grow hops very seriously. Like, if I did, I would trellis them, but or have them running up something. But I've got this plant that's been here ever since I planted these all, I think, when I first moved here. And kind of lost interest. It wasn't really a priority to me, but it's perennial, and they keep coming back. So if I ever wanted to, I could try and get something going with these. But that would be an interesting one to try and do a land race of as well. Hop tea is great. Have you tried hop water? It's like carbonated water that tastes, but flavored with hops. That stuff is good. I could eat that. I could drink that a lot. It's very refreshing if you're into hops. And that's the thing, is that hoppy beer is, I like the flavor of hops, but along with that, hoppy beer is so heavy, so high gravity. Someone out there, why don't they make a light hoppy beer? Lighter than a normal light beer. Make it like 1.5. I would drink that. Anyway, I won't get into philosophy too much this time, but I have been thinking a lot, having a lot of cool and sort of productive thoughts and ideas about how abstraction kind of manifests itself in nature, and that nature or so the universe as we understand it is not actually as mechanical as we think it is. If you look at physics, for example, since Newton, it's basically, they've been up against forces that we can't really understand, but that we can still know something about. Okay, so we don't know what gravity is, but we know something about gravity, right? We don't know why gravity works. It's sort of contrary to human intuition. But that seems to be the way forward in terms of looking at other things, right? So vastly complex systems upon systems. When you have that kind of interaction happening, it's a good thing to use a little bit of abstraction and to say, we don't understand why, but we can reasonably assume certain things about the properties of various systems in nature. And that's fun to think about. That means that there are these sort of, mechanical, then not so mechanical, but then mechanical again, things happening. So yeah, I'll get with you more on that as winter approaches. I look forward to bringing up a few sort of new topics to discuss. I like doing this, so I want to keep it going, both as a mental exercise for me, and also as a way to hang out and communicate. So, happy fall. Oh, I'll show you one more thing before we go. My wife's friend tipped her off to this idea. Here's the squash that I still have out. This is just mostly the machadas. Maximas, Pepos that I put in the shed. My wife's friend tipped us off to this idea that if we drill a hole into a pumpkin and then fill it with peanut butter, that squirrels will come and eat the peanut butter out of your pumpkin and leave the craziest face. Anyway, so pretty demented. And this is my wife's pumpkin. The other one is mine. But that it rots in a very cool way. So I just took a drill bit, and then we filled the holes with peanut butter. And for a long time, we're like, oh, it's not working. And then just in the last couple days, it's really started to take off. I don't know if it's because the squirrels are just now starting to get really hungry for it, or if it's because the pumpkin is rotting down, but it's working out very nicely.